Hello everyone, it's Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. So today we are doing a swatch party. So on Insta stories, if you're not following me there, I would highly recommend you check me out there because I am doing a lot of fun stuff to distract you guys for your everyday life as we are going through this crisis. I just want to make it fun for you guys as well as for myself because if not, I will go crazy with 3 children by myself. So on Insta stories, I had asked you guys if you wanted me to do a swatch party of all of these e.l.f. quads. I did go ahead and purchase these on the e.l.f. website. These are only $3. I didn't feel like they were breaking the bank, and I only had owned one other e.l.f. product that was gifted to me by one of you lovely subscribers. So I don't have any other e.l.f. This is it. After this, it's just one palette. That's all I own of e.l.f. And I've heard so many great things about these that, come on, this is not breaking the bank. So I decided to grab all of them. I have yet to play with any of them and I have yet to open any of them. So I figured, did you guys want a swatch party? And swatch them along with me so you guys can be just as surprised as myself, see them live so you guys can see how I'm doing. How this video is going to work is I'm going to change the camera to my overhead so you guys can see them all on my arms, and I will be swatching them live for you guys, so it's not like you'll just see the pictures of them. That way you guys can compare, see the formula, and see if you want to pick up any of these at all for yourselves. Bear in mind and always remember that swatches are only half of the story. Sometimes a swatch is better on your arm than it is on your eyes, or vice versa, but this is just for informational purposes because I didn't see any really swatches of those bright bold ones really, so I wanted to do that for you guys. So if you were on the fence of which ones look similar or which ones you didn't want to get because you thought that maybe you weren't gonna like those colors on you because you didn't know the undertone or even the formula itself, I'm here to share that with you guys. So be prepared, sit back, enjoy, watch this because I'm gonna be just as surprised as you guys because I have yet to even touch any of these. But first, before we get into the video, if you're new to my channel, welcome to the familia. My name is Alejandra. I'm an eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash of Project Pan. If that is something that interests you, subscribe, join us. And now without further ado, let's change the camera lens and swatch away. All right, you guys, so we're going to go ahead and swatch these. These are only $3 a piece, as you guys know. I asked you guys if you wanted me to swatch these. I have yet to touch these or play around with these, so I don't know myself how these are going to work, how they're going to mess around with. Now, I grouped them as far as what I thought was similar to one another, so I grouped these two, these two, these two, and these two. So that's how I'm going to compare them. I will compare these two against these two. Do you get what I mean? Like this one against this one against this one. So that way you guys can see if there's any similarities between any of these, because these two look very similar. These might be very similar on the eyes. You might not need them versus the same thing with these. So I grouped them as best as possible to show you guys the best way to save you guys money. You guys don't want to purchase these because I understand a lot of us are not spending money now with what's going on in the world. I also wanted to swatch these to see if you guys maybe wanted to dupe these in your collection. So that's another reason why I wanted to swatch these. I've yet to play with these on my eyes. I've yet to touch them, so I have no idea how these are going to work. We're going to go start off with this and then move down to here, there, and then I do the colorful ones last. And again, I'm going to compare that 2 at a time so that way you guys can see the similarities versus just swatching all of them on my arms because that will be impossible. So we're going to go ahead and get started on all of this. Okay, so here's the first one. This one's called Cream and Sugar. You have the name on the back right over here as well as a little sticker right there, but that's impossible. So in this one right here you get 2 mattes and then you get 2 shimmers here. So I'm just going to go ahead and you guys can see how I swatch them. So there is the first one right there. And as you guys can see, it's a very nice matte shade. I could see that. It's not bad, actually. It went on very well. And that's just, you guys saw how I swatched it. So we're gonna go with the second one here. You guys can see I'm barely putting much pressure on these as well. That's actually really, really pretty. I'm actually very impressed so far. And they do feel very soft to the touch. Like I really feel like they're soft. So let's go on with the next one. There it is right there. So that's like a gold. Ooh, look at that. Yeah. I know a lot of people have mentioned that the neutral shades are a lot better than the colorful shades. So I also want to debunk that. Hopefully I debunk it. Let's see if it's true or not. And then the last one, which is also a matte. Look at that. That one looks like it's a little bit patchy, but worked on the eyes. You guys can see I'm rubbing this back and forth. So you guys can tell that if you rub that on your eye, you can blend that out to make it seem seamless. So far this one, again, like everyone has said, this one's very, very nice. You could see a little bit of powder right there from where I had it on my finger. So this one's Cream and Sugar. This is definitely a nice one. if you want another neutral palette, or you can absolutely dupe this in your collection. I have these colors over and over, and I don't own any e.l.f. quads or e.l.f. things really, so this is my first one from them, and I'm happy to say that this is actually pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna compare it now to this quad right here. This one is called Pumpkin Pie. This is the one that really attracted me out of all the neutrals. You guys know I love these type of shades right here. It's so pretty. So with this one, you get 2 mattes right here and then 2 shimmers as well. So you're getting 2 mattes and 2 shimmers just like the first one. So I figure this is the best one to compare, because this shade right here out of the Cream and Sugar may be very similar to one of these. So that shade right there. So we're gonna see if that is true. So let's start out with the first one. Ooh, that is very soft. That felt very soft. So, oh, that's a beautiful shade. So there's the first shade. Let's go with the second one. Oh my gosh, this is a really good one too. So as you guys can see, this is definitely more rich in coppery red than this one. This is more gold based, and this was more red orangey based. Oh, that is gorgeous. Look how much saturation I still have on my finger. All right, let's go with the third one. That one's gonna need some building, as you guys can see right there. That one you'll definitely need to build up, but it's still good. It's not patchy at all. And then the last one, which is this bronzy shade. With these ones right here, like these shimmery shades, you really do not need to dig your finger in there at all. Holy moly. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So I'm trying not to have the exposure too high so you guys can really see the color of these. So here, let me move this over so you guys can really see. So I would honestly say that these are actually not that quite the same. Like, you could probably get the same color if you would just put an orange shadow under here, or orange cream shadow to match these. And then these two, this one's a lot more brown based, and this is a lot more orangey based than this one. They do look similar, and they probably could pass as very similar shades on the eyes, but I do see a difference swatching them out. But again, on the eyes, it could very well be the same. So what I'm talking about is these two right here. These could very similarly be the same on the eyes. You guys see them right there on my fingers. They look quite the same. So we'll see when I play around with these on the eyes if they are any different. So again, these are the two comparisons, just in case you were curious about these two neutrals. Here is Cream and Sugar, which is the first 4 right here, and then here's Pumpkin Pie, the last 4. Okay, so these are the next 2 that we are going to compare, which I kind of feel like these 2 right here are going to be similar. So we have Carnival Candy, which is the first one. This one has a really pretty blue in it, you know, that pop of blue. With this one, you're getting 3 mattes, and then you're getting this blue one, which is more of a satin. It's not as metallic as the first 2 that I shared with you guys, the first 2 palettes. So this might be, you could actually probably use that as a matte. So this one looks very similar to the Cream and Sugar palette. That one actually looks very similar to that. So I'd probably say that's the same thing. And then this one also looks like that Pumpkin Spice matte. So if you guys are curious, that matte right here is probably that one, and this matte right here is probably that one. So again, you're getting dupes in those. So if you're looking for a specific shadow, you might be able to skip some of these. Then you have this red burgundy shade. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty. That one went on decent. So that one's not bad. And now let's do this blue shade. Wow, look at that. That is nice. I have a feeling just by touching this blue one, it's drier in texture as far as the foiled, so I could probably see this being a hard time using it as a matte. Like, you would have a hard time because it kind of like tugs a little bit, so it'd be easier to pack on versus just blending it out. So what I would recommend with that shadow is pack it on wherever you want and then blend out the edges to keep it from looking patchy, if you are going to use that as a transition shade. But there is Carnival Candy. So you guys see these 2 are very similar to the 2 first palettes that we used. All right, so the one that we're going to compare it to is Truffles. So Truffles is the cooler version. And again, looks like you have 3 mattes and 1 metallic-y shade, and this one's a lot more metallic. This black one actually looks like it has sparkle in it. I don't know if you guys can see that or it plays in camera or not. I know it's kind of like dark in here, but this is what we're working with. So we're going to start out with this metallic-y shade first. Ooh, that's a nice silver right there. And this silver is actually pretty close as far as formula to this blue one. It doesn't feel as wet as the first two palettes that we played around with that had those metallic-y shades. So let's go on with this matte. This matte might be, okay, so this matte is cooler toned than this matte. So this is the first time we're seeing a different brown transition shade from the first three palettes that we've swatched so far. This is the first one that's cooler toned. You guys can see that there is some powder right there. Now let's go with this brown one, which looks very, very similar to the pumpkin pie brown, which I'll share with you guys here. This pumpkin brown looks very similar to that one. So that's another dupe that we have come across. And then this black. I believe this is the only palette that has a black. And when we swatch it, you can't really tell that it has any of the sparkle to it. So here is Truffles. I believe this one's Truffles. So we have Carnival Candy, which is these first four, and then Truffles, which is this one. So you guys can see there. So far we've been able to dupe 1, 2, 3 shadows. So these are the next two sets that we're going to compare. So these are actually very, very different from the first four. I don't think that we're going to have any dupes of any kind of the first four in here, but within each other, there may be dupes. So we're going to start out with this one first. This is Berry Bad. That's cute, Berry Bad. So in this one, I see that we have two mattes right here. This one's a satin, and this one looks like it's a foil. So we're going to start off with this one. And this one, you guys can see I'm building this up, and it is a pinky rosy type of matte. Then this one looks gorgeous. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. That color reminds me of a Juvia's Place shadow that I have. That's beautiful. All right, so let's go with the third one. Oh, that's pretty. It's like a pinky berry. It's very different from these two. I thought these would be very similar, but they're not. And then the last one, which is a matte burgundy. This one looks like the browns that we've had in the first two, but this is actually more purple toned than the first two. The first ones that we've swatched are all browns. This one has more purple to it. And this one I could see could be a little bit patchy. Like this one, I had a little bit of a hard time. You guys can see that it's sticking to right there, and my hand is dry. So this one will probably be the patchy one out of all four of these. So this one is Berry Bad. All right, so the next one we're gonna compare it to is Rosewater. Rosewater is one that I've heard a lot of people liking. So for Rosewater, what you have here is one matte, which you guys can see right there. There's one matte, two foiled, and then this one looks like it's a matte with sparkle again. This one looks like the black one with sparkle in it, but this is a very, very darkened plum purple that almost shoots black, but it has purple to it. And it does have sparkle to it. I don't know if you guys can see that. It has sparkle, but I don't know if it'll transfer onto your eyes. So let's try this out. So start with the first one. Ooh, that's pretty. That's like an icy pink. It's like a frosty pink. This is nice. This is a very cool tone. This one's the cool toned sister to Berry Bad that we just swatched. So here, ooh, that's a pretty transition shade. I like that one. It's a purpley white based matte. That's pretty. Now we have this one right here, which looks like you gotta build this one up. So here, this one is definitely, see how it's very different from the first quad? This one's definitely more cool tone. And then let's go on with this one, which almost looks like it's black, but when I'm sure that this has a bit of purple to it. It's not fully black, but it could pass as a soft black. It's very, very dark. And I could definitely tell that this one would be a little bit hard to work with just by messing with that. You guys can see it right there. Oh, my fingers are giving it the other colors. So here is Rosewater right here. So this is the cooler tone version of Berry Bad. So this is your warm tone version. This is your cool tone version. So here is Berry Bad, these four right here. And then here is Rosewater. You could see that there is no overlapping of shades, mainly because it's two different undertones. So if you prefer cooler, I would go with this one. If you want a warmer one, I would go with that one. All right, so now we're going to the troublemakers, the ones that everyone says that were not so great when it came to the eyes. So let's see how these swatch. So we have a hot jalapeno, which is the green one, and you have acai, which is, or acai, I think it is acai, which is the blue one. All right, so we're gonna start out with this green one right here. In this palette, you're getting 2 mattes, a satin, and then a foiled yellow, which is amazing. I love this color combo. Look at that. People telling me that this one isn't good. I don't know, you guys. I'm already starting out. That's a very light swatch of it, but it's still there, which is good. Then we have the, oh, this one does look like it's tough. Come on, man. All right, so this one's like a drier texture. This one I could see having a hard time picking up with a brush. You would definitely have to scrape your brush in there, dig in there to get some pigment out. I'm not trying to give you the middle finger, but I could definitely see why people are saying that this one was tough. This one's a foil, or this is not a foil, this is a satin, but it's a very, very hard pressed satin in here. So I could definitely see this one being tough to pick up with a brush. With a finger, you get a decent pigmentation. With this, I would recommend a very scratchy brush, something like this, that's very scratchy, and to dig in there to get the color pigmentation, and then wet your brush so it won't go all over your face. That's what I recommend with this one. So let's go on with the matte. This one, I could see it being a little bit patchy as well, but I can work with this because you're getting a good color payoff out of that. That's not too bad. It's not bad. And then the last one, which is like a dark green. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that one working as well. So the only one that out of this quad that I say is going to give you trouble is this second one right here. But if you work with it, I think you can get the pigmentation because I can feel it's drier on my skin, but once it's set, it's set. I do like the quad, so I'll make it work. But I can see why people were saying these weren't that great. But it's only one really. Just by feeling the formula and by knowing so many formulas, I can tell that this one is just going to be a little bit harder to work with. All right, so now let's go with acai blue or acai, yes. So in this quad, we have 2 mattes, which are these two, a satin and then a foiled. So the same kind of setup as this one, just that this one is greens and this one's blues. And this is cooler toned. You can definitely tell this is more cooler toned. So this is your first matte. And there it is right there. I could tell that this one's gonna be a little bit hard to get some color. There it is right there. Now let's go with the foiled. Okay, that one picked up nicely. I don't feel like that one would be so hard to work with. Now let's go with it. See, this one is a lot more loosely packed than the green one is. You guys can see right there. It's like sticking. So it's better as far as picking up than that one, but I don't know how it would work on the eyes because I could definitely pick up on that, but I could see that it is powdery. But there, see how that one was able to blend out a lot better than this one. So they did a better job with this blue one than they did with that green shadow. These two are the ones that are gonna be the hardest to work with. And then let's go with this one. Oh man, this blue one. Yeah, that one's gonna be another one you gotta build up. You can see it right there. You're definitely gonna have to build that one up and work with it. And you gotta be careful with this one because I can feel that one's gonna be patchy as well. So just by swatching these two right here, I can definitely say that these are not as good as the other ones that I just swatched for you guys, but they're not terrible. Honestly, they're not terrible. Out of the green one, which is the hot jalapeno, I would say this one's gonna be my tough one. And out of the acai, which is the blue shades, I would say this one would be the hard one to work with. But if you know how to work with color and you're okay, I don't think you should have that big of a problem because there's other brands that have come out with colorful shadows as well that have some sort of formula like this and we could still be able to work them. So again, this is jalapeno and then this is acai. All right, you guys, so these are all of the quads that e.l.f. currently has available. You've seen all the swatches. I will be playing around with them. I may even do a ranking video. After I use all these on my eyes, I may do a ranking video to tell you guys which one's the best one and which one's my least favorite one, if you guys want me to do that as well. I really like these, honestly. I wasn't expecting this good. They're not amazing. Like, I know certain individuals have compared these to Natasha Denona. I would not say these are Natasha Denona. These are pretty good, but they're questionable. For the most part, they're pretty good, but I wouldn't say to go as far as saying these are like high end. They're decent. They've come a long way from what I remember e.l.f. being. So yeah, these are definitely a step up from comparing it to e.l.f. Comparing it to drugstore, they're pretty good, and they're a lot better than some a few years ago. So I'm not saying these are bad, but I'm not saying these are amazing as well. Again, I've only swatched them today. This is the first time I play with them as far as touching, feeling, the texture of these, just giving my assumption. Just by swatching so many formulas throughout the whole entire, makeup industry, I've come to know a lot of formulas, so I can kind of tell which ones are going to work on the eye well, and which ones are going to give you a hard time. So I'm going to play around with these on my eyeballs. You guys will see them. I'll probably do some videos with them in the future, but I also wanted to just swatch them for you guys. Dupe them in your collection if you don't want to spend the $3 on them, or if there's only one specific that you really think is unique to your collection. Now you've seen how they play, how they work, how they compare to something that they are very similar in. There are some overlaps in different quads, so if you like one shade or one more than the other for a specific shade, you may only need one of these. You don't need both of the ones you were thinking of. So I hope this was helpful for those that were interested in these and were curious to see how they compare to one another. Again, I've only swatched these on my hand, so I will go ahead and play around with these on my eyes. And just before I forgot to mention, I didn't put any type of primer on my hand. This was dry completely, and there's nothing like on here. This was just straight on my skin. Bear in mind, when you do wear primer on your eyes, these are going to stand out more, or may stick to your eye better, or might blend a little bit harder. It all depends on the type of primer that you use. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll link these down in the description box. I will put more videos on the screen for you guys to enjoy. Until then, bye guys.